Wait, did that just say start from the beginning of the game?
I was wondering why that.
Distressingly, like we almost just restarted the game and saved over our save data.
I was like, huh, that doesn't seem right. All right, I don't know if this is a separate episode or if this is part of another or what's going on here, but this is just us doing more segments of us doing more cleanup here. So I think what we're about to hop in and do now is we're going to try to go through each of the thingajigs here and try to do all the red locks this time.
All right, that seems like that's going to be the right path in the center.
Yep.
Probably, right?
So we're going to hop ahead to here and choose door 5.
Okay.
I don't know how much of each of the rooms we're going to have to do in order to get it to do the thing. But we'll do as much as we can until it shows the keys unlocking, then we'll skip ahead because we shouldn't have to do the entire puzzles, but if we do, then whatever, it is what it is. At least we don't have to look at everything again, right?
Yeah.
Now, here's an interesting question for you.
Mm-hmm.
If Snake isn't Snake, has that been that way since the beginning? Has Snake always not been Snake?
That'd be weird, because how would Clover not notice?
Well, Clover looked at his corpse and didn't know until we mentioned the arm.
But it was also mentioned very much that the corpse was fucking blown up. So
I suppose. All right, so let's see whether or not this is enough to change it. All right, so that was enough to change it. So now we could just skip ahead.
Wasn't that already red and open?
Nope, it was had the locked one on it.
Oh, okay.
So now let's skip ahead to here. Now this one, let's see, 3, 7, and 8 doors. This one we want to go through the. I forget which one is which. Which one is this? That's the 8 door. Okay, so we want to go through the 8 door here.
Okay.
I wonder if I'm going to check something real quick here.
Yeah.
If we just go through this, does it automatically force that lock to be open since it's the only way we can get in here? Yes. Okay. Cool. So let's go. So there are some things that should be opened in this laboratory here.
Can we zoom out real quick?
Yep.
Can we scroll up a little bit?
Yep.
It's interesting that other one has locks to open on that path, and this one doesn't.
Yep. And I believe these were all about involve stuff with getting closer to Clover, or in this case, getting the bookmark and stuff.
Yeah.
So let's.
It's really weird that doesn't exist here. Huh.
All right. So laboratory.
Yep.
It puts us a computer. I don't know what this does. All right. So we came back here, and I expected the keys to kind of be like options, like they were for Clover, right? Where you always had to pick the bottom option. And it's not as much on this one. It just seems like if you get into this route, having taken the correct path previously, then it immediately you get some extra stuff. Because Lotus was just, we were skipping through this trying to get to a choice point, and Lotus started saying a whole bunch of stuff we hadn't seen before. So we backed ourselves on up, and we're going to go through it now. Junpei, push the... So just to be clear, this is what this looks like once you've gone through the 5 door, and then into the 8 door. Junpei, push the button on the front of the monitor.
Oh, that worked.
With the soft hum, it turned on. Streams of letters that made no sense to Junpei began to scroll across the screen.
What?
He had hoped it would turn on, but he hadn't expected this.
Huh? It's running on its own?
It certainly looks like it.
Isn't that kinda weird?
What?
Well, it's not connected to the main computer, right? There's just this keyboard and monitor. The only cable connected to this thing is the power cable we just plugged in. So, why is it working?
Maybe it's a wireless display. Clearly, this was a reasonable explanation to Lotus.
A wireless display?
Yeah, it connects to your computer wirelessly, hence the name. Have you been living in a cave, Junpei? He most certainly had not, but...
Is that normal?
Yes, at least where I worked. Oh, it stopped.
Pass with a colon.
Looks like we need to enter a password. All right, Junpei, throw me some numbers.
Again, there must be a hint around here somewhere.
Are we going to do this gag every single time someone asks for a password? Yeah, probably. Would you go take a look?
Yeah, I'm on it. What are you gonna do?
I'll see if I can do something about this on my own.
On your own?
Yeah, on my own.
Lotus?
Lotus pulled over the nearest chair and dropped herself down onto it in front of the keyboard. For a second, she stared at the screen. She kneaded her hands, knuckles popping, and twisted her back left and then right. All right, let's kick some ass. Lotus smiled to herself and rubbed her hands together in anticipation. Junpei staring at Lotus's impressive WPM. Then, before Junpei had time to blink, she was typing at an incredible speed, the click-clack of the keys running together like machine gun fire.
What?
Junpei was, for once, at a loss for words. So, the difference here is that last time she just asked Junpei for some alone time.
Mm-hmm.
When we last played this, she just said, "Oh, I need some alone time, Junpei," and sent him off. And now she's gonna do something else here. You didn't expect that, did you?
Of course I didn't. You're typing so fast I can't even see your fingers. What kind of job do you have? What are you?
I'm unemployed at the moment. I used to work for a cybersecurity firm, but I quit.
Why?
Lotus blinked. Huh? Oh. I guess it was just something. She stopped typing for a moment and her face fell.
I see.
This was not an avenue of questioning to be pursued, Junpei realized, and quickly shut his mouth. Lotus's fingers began to move again, and in a few seconds she was back up to speed. So why does she no longer work at that cybersecurity firm, then?
I don't know.
And she typed more letters and symbols that meant nothing to Junpei began to pour across the screen.
Oh, what are you doing now?
Hacking the Gibson.
Oh, that's delightful.
I'm gonna try and brute force it.
Brute... what?
A brute force attack is... well, the short version is that it just attacked the thing head on. The long version... Without looking up or slowing down, she began to explain. A brute force attack is one of the simplest ways to break a cipher. It checks every possible combination until it finds the right one. For a complex cipher, it can take a very, very long time. I'm writing a program that would run an attack like that on its own. It's not the most elegant solution, certainly. But given the circumstances, there isn't much else that I can do. Even as she talked, her fingers never slowed or missed a key. Junpei couldn't help but feel a little bit odd. Aw. Oh, but back to what we were talking about earlier.
What were we talking about?
The wireless display. It's kind of strange if you think about it, isn't it? How do I put this? Well, let's say that you write a program that calculates an addition problem for you, all right? So you enter 1 plus 1. The screen will show you 2. See? Isn't that strange?
No, not really.
Oh, come on now. Of course a caveman like you would think it was strange. You just said so a minute ago. You're just not getting it, are you? Who calculated 1 plus 1?
The main computer, right? You said it connected to the monitor wirelessly.
Yeah, but someone who grew up in a cave wouldn't know that, right? They'd probably think that this thing here, the monitor, is doing the calculating. And once they've decided that, they'll start examining this monitor. They might poke the screen or something. Oh, I see the color changes when I press it here. Then they might investigate the hardware on the inside. Oh, I see, so this wire supplies power. Eventually, they might even cut the wires. Ah, yes, just as I expected. When this wire is cut, no results appear. Therefore, it must be that this device which does the calculations. What an interesting line of thought. So she's getting at, like, yeah, stuff that appears to follow pretty directly can have a mistaken assumption at the base of it.
Yep.
Right? So, I wonder if that's meant to alert the player to something. Like, do we have a mistaken assumption? Are we deriving things from a faulty basis?
Maybe.
But the truth is that, just like you said, the computer is doing the calculating. But these cave people wouldn't know that, because they have no idea that the monitor and the computer are connected wirelessly. Okay, so she's getting more about, like, specifically unseen connections. Something that we aren't aware of connecting to something we are. Okay. Lotus continued to type. Junpei scratched his head.
So, what are you trying to say?
Nothing. really. It's just I thought maybe, what if the relationship between human beings and our brains is like that?
Huh?
Well, let's say that you stick a bunch of electrodes into parts of the brain. A scientist examining the signals they send out might say, "Ah, interesting. So simulating this part of the brain causes the person to see colors."
Wow,
I don't know
you
why-
sound just like a scientist. That was so convincing.
Thank you. This must mean that the neuron cluster controls that function. Okay, let's see what happens when I cut out this part. Oh, just what I thought. Cutting off this particular part causes that function to cease. Therefore, human thought processes must occur in the human brain. See? Doesn't it sound the same? Exactly the same as a scientist?
100% identical.
Maybe the brain is just an output device, like this monitor.
Ooh, spicy theory, brain antenna theory.
Oh, there's Cartesian, and there's whatever the hell we're doing now. Maybe our thought processes actually occur somewhere else, in a main body. We just don't know it. We never even think about it. Just like those cave people wouldn't know about wireless communications. Although, this kind of also comes back to the morphogenic field stuff, right? Where stuff is happening and being sent to us that we are completely unaware of, and mistake is part of our own intuition.
Mm-hmm.
So isn't that where there's what do you need in order to have... What was Clover saying that we needed? We needed present danger and... not inspiration. She used a particular word for it.
Fuck. I don't remember the specific word.
Yeah.
It wasn't eureka. It wasn't inspiration. It wasn't revelation.
It was something to that effect.
Piss. It'll come to me.
Epiphany?
It was epiphany.
Epiphany. There we go. So
I sent it to you through the morphogenetic field.
Yeah, you did. So what if they're getting at epiphanies are messages sent across morphogenic fields from I guess whatever the equivalent of the Nevada group is in this, or on my theory, us and other timelines.
Maybe.
We can't imagine that there's some unknown medium that transfers information into our brains, where we experience that information as thoughts. I call it the luminiferous ether. Shit, wait, that one's taken. Junpei didn't say anything. Not so much because he had no retort. No, her argument seemed just silly, and he was a little surprised to be hearing something like that from someone like her. It's silly in so much as a lot of philosophical thought is silly, right? Like
which it is. Philosophical thought is extremely silly.
It is extremely silly, but also there's a lot to be gained from it, I feel. I don't know. I found a lot of value in learning, in thinking philosophically, and like spending the time to learn that kind of thing. Like that, I felt like that brought a lot of value to my life.
Today's hot topic on philosophy Twitter: what would you call a mind that can think and is conscious but doesn't have any senses? We don't have a good name for that thought experiment yet. If you can think of one, sound off in the comments.
Wait, but has no... So it's perfectly capable of thinking, but it has no senses, so it's completely cut out. I feel
like a reverse P zombie. Not even a reverse P zombie.
I feel like this is a thing. I feel like this is a thing. Maybe I'm misunderstanding.
It's not brain in a vat. It's not a P zombie.
Right. It's just a completely isolated thinking being.
Yeah, something that has conscious experience, but no sensory experience.
Aww. Yeah, I don't have a good name for that. All right. Well,
I know, right? Neither does anyone
sound
on Twitter.
Off in the comments below. Oh, I've got it. Vivian.
Oh, no.
But I still have sensory inputs. Yeah, not for long.
The brain is just an output device. Human thought actually occurs somewhere else. That's just crazy talk.
Funny talk for a character in a video game, my guy. Did Lotus really think that, he wondered. It was a little creepy, Junpei thought. It sounded altogether too much like a bizarre cultish religion. Philosophy is a bizarre cultish religion. True. Maybe that's the cause of the Seven's amnesia. Oblivious to Junpei's increasing discomfort, Lotus continued. If memory is actually stored somewhere else, perhaps in the balls. I can't even continue on, I'm sorry. Memory is stored in the balls, Junpei. Change my mind. If memory is actually stored somewhere else, in some sort of main body somewhere, maybe he hasn't forgotten anything at all. He's just having a difficult time accessing his memories because the monitor, his brain, has been damaged. I suppose that would explain aphasia and blindsight, too.
I loved that book.
Oh, you were a, what?
Indeed.
Fan? Oh, got it. Nailed it. Perhaps they can actually speak or see. The monitor just isn't functioning properly. Because people with prosopagnosia... I've never pronounced this word aloud, forgive me. Prosopagnosia. Prosopagnosia?
Probably.
Yeah. I suppose people with prosopagnosia could be suffering from the same thing.
Wait a minute. Prosopag what?
He knew what aphasia was from watching medical dramas on TV, and blindsight was easy enough to guess. But he never heard the word prosopagnosia before. What, you've never heard of prosopagnosia? Lotus spun around in her chair to look at him. Junpei just shrugged and shook his head.
No, what is it?
Well, put simply, it means a condition where the mind can't distinguish between human faces. In other words, my face would look the same as Clover's. Or even yours. I wonder then, if that's cluing us into someone on the ship having that, and that's why they can't recognize someone that they should be able to.
Oh, what if Clover is face blind and that's why she can't recognize that her brother is not her brother?
Maybe. What if... Yeah, okay. One other theory is that... So one other thing I want to think about is that we've been revisiting Ace theory now that we've seen a couple of the other endings. Because now that we're seeing some of the other endings where both Santa and Clover get to kill people, I think maybe we got too attached to Ace right on because he was the first one we saw, and then we saw another ending that would seem to fit him. The bad ending here, right? Seemed to fit him. So maybe we need to reveal... But then again, he also showed a picture of him with a gun and, like, the flashing credits stuff, so...
I'm having trouble So, does that tie into this, or...?
It does, just through a convoluted chain of reasoning that I didn't fully explain.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So I felt like I missed a step there.
Yeah, the reason that came to mind was because I was thinking about, again, about Ace's reaction when you asked him to do the key matching puzzle that had pictures of everyone's faces on it.
Oh, you're right. Okay, there we go. That was the missing connection.
Yes, sorry if that came out of nowhere. Because I was thinking about it, because his reaction was like, oh, he killed Snake, which, reasonable. Or, he doesn't know people's faces. Also reasonable. I don't know what that gets us, but I wanted you to know it was on my mind.
You're on my mind.
Oh, thanks. In other words, my face would look the same as Clover's or even yours. So they can't remember faces, which is how most people recognize each other. That means people with prosopagnosia have trouble recognizing even people they're close to. Maybe that is what was going on with Clover.
Maybe.
So Snake, yeah. Usually they can make do by associating people with other things. Their voices, their clothes, their hair. Does that mean
Does that mean other people's faces look like blanks?
No, I don't think so. You've seen monkeys like in a zoo, right? To you and me, all the monkey faces look the same. Even though they're obviously got faces, it's almost impossible for a human to distinguish between them. The zoo staff that works with them would learn to identify different monkeys eventually, but you or I couldn't unless one had a scar or something else to set it apart. That's how people would be to someone with prosopagnosia.
Prosopagnosia, huh? I didn't even know that kind of thing existed.
Junpei did his best to act as though the entire lecture hadn't gone entirely over his head.
And, what were we talking about?
The idea that your brain is just an output device, like a monitor.
Are you serious about that stuff?
Not really. I was just kidding for about half of it.
What about the other half?
Well, I guess I was just adulting.
What?
Instead of kidding.
Okay, that didn't land because adulting is a word now.
Yeah, because adulting is a word with a different meaning now, but yeah, that's funny.
Not funny.
Well, I thought it was plenty funny.
It was funny.
It was funny. Lotus's smile had something rather masochistic to it. It's nothing more than a story I made up out of boredom. Don't take it seriously. It was the first thing that came to mind, and I just talked about it to kill time. But it looks like I don't need to talk anymore.
Why?
I don't have to kill time any longer. As she spoke, Lotus raised her right arm high, and brought it down on the enter key.
Then you finished that brute whatever thing?
I most certainly did, and let's see what it got. Chunks of text flickered on and off in quick succession, then a line of numbers appeared, blinked, and disappeared. The screen cleared, and all that was left of the word accepted. Piece of cake. Lotus would clearly have patted herself on the back if it would not have made her look entirely ridiculous. After a few seconds, the accepted disappeared to be replaced with 9 squares arranged in a 3x3 square.
The screen changed again. What the hell is that?
No idea. Looks like a puzzle. Suddenly, Lotus stood up.
Aren't you gonna, I don't know, do more computer stuff?
Nah, can't be bothered. Won't let me do any more programming. See the keyboard? Nothing. So there's nothing more I can do.
Well,
I guess I'll leave this to you then, Junpei.
What?
Let me take a break, all right? I did my part after all.
Well...
He wasn't sure what to say to that. She certainly had done her part. In fact, without Lotus, they probably would have run completely aground.
I shouldn't rely on other people so much.
Junpei thought to himself.
I guess you're right. Thanks, Lotus.
See, this puzzle also felt weird to me because it feels like part of the puzzle involves her having to hack into something.
Yeah.
Which would seem to necessitate that Lotus be here, since she seems to be the only one with that skill. No problem. Make sure you know that when you should thank people.
Now, I better take care of this myself. No more relying on anyone else.
Junpei crossed his arms and stared at the puzzle shown on the screen.
Cool.
Oh, and it brings us right back here after... Oh, so... This just lets us look at the specific scenes. Okay, that's cool. So we don't even have to go back and do the puzzle. We can just go to the proper scenes. Okay.
That's convenient. I like that.
I like that too. It was just at that moment that he heard a voice behind him. It was Clover.
Hey, Junpei, do you have a minute?
He put the puzzle aside for a moment and walked over to Clover.
Ooh, what's up? I wanted to ask you something. Junpei, you went into door 5 with my brother, right?
So this is why we need to have gone into door 5.
Did you hear him say, like, anything weird? Huh? Why is she asking me this?
Junpei wondered. The more he thought about it, however, the more it made sense. Snake had been gone for a very, very long time. Clover was quite attached to her brother. Of course she would have been worried about him.
But that's not why. She suspects her brother is not her brother.
Oh, Snake has been... Snake hasn't been Snake.
Is Snake 0?
Is Snake 0 then?
But why?
I don't know. I still don't think that necessarily 0 is on this boat, but maybe because it feels weird, but it also explains why Snake would go off and try to kill him. If Snake was 0, that feels like a good explanation for why the body isn't his. Right?
Yeah.
Because that takes planning and time to do. Also explains how someone did indeed get those doors set up, because they couldn't let anyone into the doors while Snake was still visible and around. That's why they're like that. Snake is 0.
Wait. Jump back like 10 seconds. There's I missed something.
So if Snake is 0, Snake being 0 makes a little bit more sense now. Or Snake is the person running the game. He was there in the beginning to give people some information that no one else had, because he had special information. Remember? Which is ostensibly reading off a card that was given to him, but could have just been because he's the GM and needs to make sure people know stuff. Explains how he could arrange to have there be a fake body of him ready to go. Picking Clover in particular gives him a good cover, as she can, because not only can she claim that he's someone else for him, very convincingly, because who would question someone's sister, right? But also allows him to slip in there because she is face blind, so as long as he doesn't do anything to tip her off. It's a perfect way to slip yourself in. It explains why the power bits of the reds in the third bit had to be taken out at first, because you wouldn't want anyone stumbling on Snake's body while Snake was still a part of the group.
That's it. Okay.
Having an excuse for people to walk off and and run away from each other, right?
Yeah.
Gives him an opportunity to put the reds in and also lose himself, so that way it's not surprising when his body is there.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, that's good.
That's good.
That's really good.
That's real good. And I wouldn't have put that together without this knowledge about specifically Clover not believing that Snake wasn't Snake. I'm pretty sure that's what it has to is. Huh. Okay. So, if Snake isn't Snake, okay, then that would be the best option for someone to be Zero. So Snake is either Zero or someone involved with the setting up of the game. I feel like that's the conclusion we have to come to.
Yeah.
That's so neat. And I don't think we could have put that together without information from the other routes as well, like where where we have confirmation that he is not him.
Yeah.
From the arm bit. Huh. And it's interesting that both of these divergence points still revolve around Clover.
Yeah.
And Clover needing to recognize. What a perfect cover. Anyway, why was she asking me this, Junpei wondered. The more he thought about it, however, the more it made sense. Snake had been gone for quite a long time. Clover was quite attached to her brother. Of course she would have been worried about him.
Well, let me think.
He thought back to when he'd gone through door number 5, hoping he might remember something, even a small something that would help her. However...
Sorry, Clover, I can't really think of anything. I mean, he did mention that his hearing exceeds that of a regular person, or something like that, but, that's about it. Okay.
Clover's words were barely audible. She nodded vaguely to Junpei and turned to walk away.
Hey, wait a minute. Look, I don't know if I should ask you things, but, if you don't mind, I was hoping you could tell me if, is Snake, was he born? You're talking about his eyes? Yeah. No, he wasn't born blind. When he was a kid, he got in an accident. A really bad car accident. He couldn't see after that. And his arm. His arm? Yeah. My brother's left arm is, it's not like a normal person's arm. It's fake. It's not a real arm. The accident hurt him really bad. To save him, they had to cut off his arm. Is that all you wanted to ask me?
Talking about her brother had clearly taken a great deal out of Clover. Junpei nodded.
Look, I'm sorry for making you talk about all that painful stuff. It's not that.
Clover only shook her head and walked off down the stairs.
Okay, so that's what we didn't get full confirmation of in the other route, because she was just like, arm's broken, it's not him, but she did not clarify why not.
Why? Right, we had a reasonable guess, but yeah, that's confirmation there. Okay, so let's skip ahead to here. Oh, I believe the boxer reached the floor, eh?
Yeah.
He stuck his head out over the side of the catwalk and looked down. The box that had only recently hung just below the catwalk now sat on the floor, had come to rest near the end of the tunnel that covered the conveyor belt.
June's down over by there.
Well, then what does that mean for Ace's reaction during the key puzzle?
I don't know. Could still be what we thought it was.
Yeah.
Could be something else entirely.
Junpei could see her still leaning against the wall as if she had barely the strength to sit up. Even from so far away, it was not difficult to see that she had not improved. He almost thought he could see that heat rising from her body. She doesn't seem to be improving now, does she? Ace's expression was inscrutable, but he'd said what they had all been thinking.
Well, of course not. She's not gonna just get better right away, you know? It'll take time.
He tried desperately to convince himself that what he'd said was true. What could be causing this, I wonder? Illness, perhaps?
Nah, it's gotta be exhaustion.
Santa's response was confident and certain.
She gets dropped into some weird-ass ship, forced to play some messed-up game. If you think about it, it's a lot weirder that we aren't freaking out just like her, you know?
So you're saying we're, abnormal?
Yeah. We're just running around this room, solving all these puzzles like it's just business as usual. How the hell could you call that normal? We're just guinea pigs.
Santa snorted in disgust.
A guinea pig? You mean like a lab rat? You mean we're being used for some sort of experiment? Is that what you're saying? We now know that that's exactly what he's saying, though he won't admit it.
Yep.
Dunno. But it does seem like a possibility, you know?
They stood there for a few more minutes, no one speaking until Santa turned and walked away from the winch. Junpei and Ace followed him.
You know, speaking of experiments...
Santa suddenly stopped.
There was this experiment some scientists did with rats. First, they took a squarish C-shaped tank and filled it with enough water that the rats could drown in it. The tank has 2 exits. Just to make it easy, we'll call one A and the other B. Exit A is pitch black, so dark even a rat can't see anything. But exit B is electrified, which means the rat can't leave through it. So what would a rat do if it was put in this situation? Which exit would the rat choose?
There was a moment of silence after Santa posed the question, and then Ace responded. B, of course. The rat has no way of knowing the exit B is electrified.
Exactly. The rat goes to exit B. Of course, like I said, it's electrified, which means the rat can't get out that way. So after a lot of trial and error, the rat finally finds exit A.
Oh, I can't say that's very interesting or relevant. Simply the story of a laboratory experiment.
You're right. It isn't very interesting yet.
Huh?
See, these scientists repeated this experiment over and over, using hundreds of different rats over several generations. This produced some surprising results. With each generation, the rats took less time to find the correct exit. Eventually, a rat was put in the tank who instantly chose exit A without even attempting to go to exit B. But that wasn't the most impressive part. The same experiment was conducted in another laboratory, far from the original one, with the same results. No, on second thought, the results weren't really the same. The rats in this second experiment began the trials with significantly faster times than the first rats in the initial one. These rats weren't related to the others and had never even come in contact with them, and yet, they all easily found their way to exit A as though they already knew. What did it mean?
I don't know. You suggesting something like telepathy? They're passing information to one another through some undetectable medium. Ace looked skeptical. Santa snorted at him.
How the hell would I know? I'm not any kind of scientist. I don't know what made him do that. But I do know that story's true, and if you've got another explanation, I'd sure love to hear it. Come on, let's get going. There's still a lot here we haven't checked out. And we gotta get the hell out of here before June passes out.
Without waiting for a response, he turned around and started walking. Junpei, however, wasn't quite ready to leave the topic alone.
Hey, wait, there's something I want to ask you. What?
Santa stopped and turned around.
Why did they use that tank for the experiment? Huh? Well, I mean, it seems like you could conduct the same experiment without the water. They could have just used a dry box, you know? If they needed to motivate the rats to escape, they could have, I don't know, put some bait by exit B or something. I mean, do they really have to make it so the rats can drown?
Danger.
They sure do.
Santa gave a grim bark of a laugh.
You know, the word emergency comes from the same root as the word emerge. You ever think about that? Well, an emergency is something urgent, often something dangerous. And to emerge means to sort of come out or appear or rise out of something else. So what's going to emerge in an emergency?
Inspiration. All right.
Inspiration? Yeah, think about it. When the chips are down, either you crack or your mind focuses and pulls up what you need. So, in an emergency, your real potential emerges? Is that what you're saying? Yeah, that's why the rats had to drown. They had to be in danger. There had to be an emergency for inspiration to emerge.
Junpei suddenly felt cold. The back of his head was aching and his stomach felt strange. Interesting. Now, we are going to take a small sidebar here. People on the APR Discord were insistent that there was Santa, when asked about the photo towards the end of the engine room puzzle, both of his answers are apparently very worth hearing.
Interesting.
So I'm going to speed through the engine room puzzle.
Okay.
Real fast, and we're going to add that in right here as long as we're doing the backup stuff here. They headed back to the exit, but on their way they found... Oh, it's,
Santa?
Santa was sitting on the stairs. He was, however, holding something in his right hand and staring at it with a strange expression. Junpei and June slowed down and finally stopped in front of him.
What are you looking at?
Santa answered without looking up, his voice quiet.
It's a photo. It's my sister.
Sister? Santa, you have a sister?
Santa simply nodded.
Yeah, kid was as cute as a button.
Was. June cocked her head in confused.
His sister is the one who died in the experiment. There we go. You were right about the sister being part of the experiment, which I didn't remember at all.
Was she only about an inch tall then? No?
Santa glared at her.
Oh, sorry. Guess an inch is a little large for a button. Probably more like half an inch.
June is trying so hard.
Doubling down when the joke doesn't go well. Santa didn't smile nor laugh.
Sorry.
Why are you looking at it?
He simply turned back to his picture and spoke.
I was her Santa Claus. Wait, what?
This sudden revelation took Junpei by surprise. He had no idea what Santa meant. He glanced at June, who shook her head. She didn't know either.
We didn't have parents. They bought it in an accident when we were still kids. So I had to be like her dad. And that meant that I bought her Christmas presents every year. On Christmas Eve, I'd leave the present next to her pillow. And the next morning, she'd come running into my room with this big smile. Look, Santa left me a present. He got me that doll I really wanted. I'm so glad he got my letter. She was always so excited. I was the one who told her to write those letters. I'd say, write down something you want and mail it to Santa. The address I gave her was somewhere in Northern Europe that doesn't exist. Anyway, she'd write the letter and stamp it and send it out. And then a few days later, it'd show up back in our mailbox, marked address unknown. I'd opened the letters before she figured out they'd been sent back. Once I had the letter, I'd go around to a couple stores with some money I'd saved up over the year and buy her the stuff she'd asked for. It took a lot of saving, but I managed to buy her presents every year.
Junpei was silent. He could think of nothing to say. June looked down, uncomfortable. The wall next to him suddenly groaned. Either he hadn't heard the sound or didn't care. Santa kept talking.
But one year, her letter was different. She didn't write a list of toys she wanted or anything like that. Instead, it said, I don't want any presents this year. Instead, I want you to make my wish come true. My wish is that we'll be happy like this for a really, really long time. That was it, nothing else. But I couldn't make that wish come true. Some Santa I am.
Santa looked sad. Junpei had never seen him look sad before. He wasn't sure that he liked it. Junpei decided it was probably best not to ask Santa any more questions, but...
What happened?
June glanced up at Santa quickly as she spoke. He answered, but only with effort.
She died. She was killed 9 years ago.
Huh.
There was nothing Junpei could say. His heart felt like a great lump of lead. June bit her lip and looked away. Her face was pale.
All right, let's go.
Santa stood up suddenly, his downcast demeanor gone. He shoved the picture back in his pocket and headed back up the stairs, taking them two at a time.
Ah,
Junpei and June looked at one another. There was nothing they could think of to say.
Hey, what are you two doing? Let's get moving. Come on.
Santa's voice echoed across the room from above them.
let's go.
Yeah.
They nodded and followed him quickly up the stairs. Ace was waiting for them at the top. He was leaning against the handrail. He looked very tired. Oh, you're finally back, huh? The door had shut, but it wasn't cause for concern.
Sorry we took so long.
Junpei quickly solved the disc puzzle a second time, and the door opened once again.
So
All right, so that wasn't what I thought it was. I don't even know if that's actually what the comment section told us to get, but that was different than what we saw last time.
Yeah.
The last time he told a story about the red and black Santas, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, last time he told a story about the two Santas. So that was entirely different.
Interesting.
I don't know if that's what the comment section was telling us to look out for, or the Discord was, but regardless, hey, new stuff.
Now we finally have all 9 picture cards. We just need to insert these cards into the slots at the front of each box.
Junpei stared at the cards in his hands. Ace peered over his shoulder at them. You know which card goes in which box, yeah? Junpei gave him a look.
Yeah, of course I do. It's really obvious. You just match our numbers to the numbers. Then you pop the corresponding card in the right box. So, for instance, the card with the picture of Ace on it goes into box 1. The card with the picture of Snake goes into box 2, and so on.
No, I see.
What is it?
Junpei thought he might have imagined it, but he could have sworn Ace stiffened. And then, just then, Junpei heard a noise. See, that was the exact scene that I was talking about, where,
Yeah.
I don't know what to make of Ace's reaction there.
Yeah.
Unless he is also? But, strange. I don't know what that gets us either. He
Yeah.
spun around just in time to see June collapse in front of the fence.
Hey, June, are you okay?
She did not respond. Junpei spun back around to face Ace.
I'm sorry, I gotta go check on her. You finished the box thing, all right?
Duh?
Just put the cards in the boxes. I'm counting on you.
Oh, this is different.
Yeah.
He
this
shoved
is
the
quite
cards
different.
into Ace's hands and ran off toward June.
Are you all right? What happened?
Junpei called out to her as he ran.
Can you stand?
As he arrived, June was climbing to her feet with Santa's help.
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm fine. I just tripped.
Don't give me that. Now's not the time.
But it's true. I tripped over a box.
Just let me see for a sec.
Junpei put his palm on her forehead.
Oh,
You're still warm.
Her temperature was much the same as it had been the last time he'd checked. She wasn't hot like she had been before, but she was still warm. Her fever wasn't completely gone.
I saw her fall. I think she really did just trip on something, you know?
Junpei would have been more willing to agree if June hadn't needed quite so much help standing up.
Still, to fall down like that, I think she's probably still a little messed up.
June was doing her best to busy herself brushing dust off of her dress. Her smile looked a little embarrassed and her face was a bit flushed, but she did look a great deal better than she had. Still.
All right, well, let's get out of here as fast as we can so we can get you to a hospital.
oh, I don't think it's anything that serious. I just need a little medicine and some sleep and I'll be fine.
Medicine, huh? Well, if we could get in touch with anyone outside, I'll bet Ace could swing that for you easy. Ace? Why? Don't you know? He's the president of a pharmaceutical company.
What the
You
fuck?
called that, didn't you? You called that. You called that. I don't remember if you did it on video or not, or if it was.
Yeah, because we were talking about like why Ace would feel hostility towards that, like, and I thought like, oh yeah, competing. Either that, or he was part of the group that put this on last time and knew what was going on here. What was the name of the pharmaceutical company?
I don't remember the name, but I thought the theory you had advanced then was that he was that dude from that pharmaceutical company, and that's why he would want to kill folks and get out alone.
That way,
because, like, he's responsible for the shit.
Yeah, and he's
in the
like,
past.
I can't.
And that's why he'd get put here by Zero, who isn't him.
Yes,
Because Zero would want to make him go through the shit that he put folks through. Potentially Zero through, if Zero's someone who, like Snake, who was part of the experiment.
Cradle Pharmaceuticals. Yeah, Cradle.
Cradle.
Yeah, Cradle.
Yeah.
Cradle.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You fucking called this, and that was way back. That was when we were first suspicious of Ace,
when
wasn't
we were
it?
trying to figure out what possible motive, and we got to that by trying to suss out his motives. So,
Yeah.
fucking rad.
Don't neglect the heart. Don't neglect the heart.
As a wise man once said.
Cradle Pharmaceutical is the name, I think. Their flagship product is an anesthetic drug called Soparil.
Also, could have been an indication that he knew what that drug was and how to use it.
Yeah. Soparil. I've heard of that before somewhere.
Junpei could have shaken the feeling that he'd heard about Soparil before. Santa continued.
Soparil. It's an anesthetic that's a gas at room temperature, a lot like how nitrous oxide is. It takes only a few seconds to spread, and even a small amount is very effective. A bunch of countries quickly accepted it for widespread use within their police and military forces. It was an effective crowd suppressant and room clearer. It was practical, ethical, and the humane nature of it made it the ideal drug. It's been around for about 6 years. They developed it from the extracts of several different roots. It became popular almost as soon as it was made public, with many governments placing large orders. Demand for Soparil skyrocketed, and of course, that meant Cradle Pharmaceuticals' stock did too. Why do you know all this?
Santa's information was interesting, but Junpei couldn't help but feel a little suspicious. Santa's reply was blunt and simple.
I heard it from the old man himself. From Ace? When? By the number 4 door at the central stairway, when we were searching the second classroom. Remember how Snake, 7, and you went to door 5? It was back then. I asked him what he did for a living, and he said he ran his own company. After that, we just started talking, and I guess it just came up, you know?
Just one of those things that comes up.
Are you worried about something?
No, nothing.
As he spoke, Junpei looked over toward Ace. He seemed to be having difficulty with the 9 boxes.
So Ace is face blind. So maybe the Clover thing was a dead end.
Or maybe it's both of them. But I don't know what it gets us with Ace here.
Yeah, but it also doesn't necessarily get us anything with Clover if we're on the Snake is Zero theory, right?
No, that was a key part of Snake is Zero theory. Because that would explain how he could slip in so seamlessly into someone that she would be close to and why she would only start to have suspicions.
Oh. So I was thinking Snake is Zero as in that is Snake. He is Zero. Snake is Zero, not Snake is a fake person who is not actually the person he is claiming to be. That's Snake there. He is who he claims to be. He is Zero. Clover's brother is Zero.
Oh, see, that's not what I thought at all, because she's had suspicions that her brother wasn't her brother.
That's true.
Yeah, because if that was the case, then she wouldn't be suspicious until she looked at the body and something was wrong. But she's been voicing suspicions without even seeing the body. So clearly Zero isn't acting, or the person that's replacing Snake wouldn't be acting completely convincingly. And that's what alerts her.
But she's also deeply depressed over his death and trying to, find a way out of that and so on.
Could be. Or it could be both. Maybe they both are. I don't know what that gets us, but Ace is face blind, so that's a thing to learn. He seemed to be having difficulty with the 9 box. Wait! No, what this explains for Ace is why he doesn't recognize any of the people here. Despite being the fact that he ran the company.
That's
good.
Why
It's important.
That's why. That's why it matters. Because if he were not face blind, he would recognize Clover and Santa. And he doesn't.
And that also explains why he has an incentive to kill everyone else in here and get out on his own. Because if the company he runs had a hand in the stuff that led up to this, he doesn't want that getting out, and he won't be able to track down any of these people after they leave.
Yeah.
Again, that's still assuming Ace.
What the hell is he doing?
He turned back to June and Santa.
June, don't push yourself, all right?
All right.
Santa, could you
Not until later anyway, right?
Got him.
Got him.
Santa, could you take care of her? I'll go check on Ace. Looks like he's having trouble. Sure.
He gave them both a short nod, then turned and headed back toward Ace.
What are you doing?
Ace's back was to him as Junpei approached. The older man turned around to look at him. His face was pale and covered in sweat.
What happened?
Nothing. My vision got rather blurry. I think perhaps because of fatigue. Can't see very well at the moment.
What can't you see well?
These pictures. Ace held the cards out to Junpei, splayed out in the shape of a fan. I don't care to admit it, but I may be developing presbyopia. Growing old is a difficult thing, you know. He made the best attempt he could at self-deprecating smile, but his face was flushed and his lips were pale and drawn. At any rate, I'll leave the rest to you, all right? I'm feeling awfully tired, so if you don't mind, I'd like to rest for a bit. Or maybe he is right there and learning about face blindness in this route is a feint, because we learn about face blindness in this route, and then are immediately given the case of Ace here, which could just be what he says he is, but we applied that information in a different route with Clover.
Yeah, or it's just Ace, because that explanation seems really unconvincing, right?
Yeah, it does seem very unconvincing, doesn't it?
Even just the colors of people's hair and so on in those, it shouldn't be hard to know which one goes with which name, but it is for Ace.
Fair enough.
And if it was just like, oh, I'm old, I have bad eyes, why would he be so fucking nervous about it? And why would he want to refuse to admit it?
Why would he not have glasses?
Yeah, why would he not have glasses?
Okay,
why would he refuse to admit it like this?
Yeah, okay, that's fair. That's fair. He shoved the cards into Junpei's hands and walked quickly away. Junpei looked at him quizzically.
How could simply looking at cards have tired him out?
Junpei looked down at the cards in his hands. All the pictures were quite clear, and each person had easily recognizable. Was Ace's vision truly so bad?
But if it wasn't, what had made him so uncomfortable?
That was when Junpei remembered what he had heard from Lotus much earlier.
I didn't think I was going to have to pronounce this word again today, so I kind of forgot it already. Prosopagnosia. Well, put simply, it means a condition where the mind can't distinguish between human faces. In other words, my face would look the same as Clover's or even yours. So they can't remember faces, which is how most people recognize each other. That means that people with prosopagnosia have trouble recognizing even people they're close to.
Maybe he's got prosopagnosia?
Junpei took another look at Ace. He sat at the base of the stairs looking quite depressed.
Well, he looks depressed enough to have it.
If he really did have prosopagnosia, there was no doubt it was a depressing and painful experience. Still, Junpei didn't feel like patting him on the shoulder and telling him everything would be all right would help that much. Good advice! Still, Junpei felt perhaps it was best he kept Ace's condition to himself, at least for the time being.
Oh, well.
Doing his best to clear his mind for the task at hand, he turned back toward the boxes.
Time to solve the 9 boxes puzzle.
9 cards with 9 pictures and 9 boxes. Junpei stared at them for a moment and then began.
Ace's card is in box 1, Snake's in number 2. I just need to do the same for the rest. And finally, the 9th man's card into box 9.
All 9 box lids popped open at once.
Yeah, they opened.
He peered inside.
What the?
In each box was a single pin.
9 pins?
They looked a little like sewing pins, but much thicker.
I guess I'll take them with me.
Junpei collected them all quickly and shoved them into his pocket.
Cool.
Now, that unlocked the key, but it also giving us the chance to go to Coffin, so I wonder if something changed here as well.
Maybe.
Shall we check this out too?
Sure.
I don't know, you could stop that anytime you wanted. All right, we're back there. That's recording. That's recording. I'll do a sync after the end of this.
All right.
All right, one last take a look through, and look at that. All the keys are indeed unlocked.
Spicy.
So this should be Leave No One Behind. Oh, that's the name of the scene. Okay. There we go. So last time we did this ending, this is the one where we wound up finding Lotus's body, but only Lotus. They took the elevator back up to C deck.
Idea just flashed in my brain. The A and B rat thing with the illuminated and hidden entrances and so on. Does that tie in to what we've seen here with the 9 doors, but also the submarine, which appears to potentially be an alternate way out?
Perhaps. Maybe that is. Maybe the 9 it wants to get us to stop going for the 9 doors and just head through the fucking submarine.
Or alternatively, What if the submarine fucking kills you because it's the electrified door, and that would be the obvious path for anybody who doesn't want to cooperate? Because Zero so far hasn't...
That's so many layers, though.
Yeah, but Zero so far hasn't given puzzles to kill people. Zero's given puzzles to force them to cooperate. So what if the point is you've got to do it the hard way and get through the 9 door, and if you do it the other way, you're fucked?
Well, here's the thing. We still don't know what's behind the 9 door.
That's true. We don't.
We have no idea what's behind the 9 doors. We've seen a submarine. Was there a 9 door in front of?
Nope.
I don't recall. If because there was a lot of doors that were already opened during that scene there. I don't recall if one of them was indeed a 9 door.
Not that I'm aware of.
Regardless, once there, they headed back toward the main hall and the central staircase. Didn't take them long.
Look, it's
Monty Python's Flying Circus.
Seven and Lotus.
They didn't look happy.
We got a problem.
Oh right, this still goes back to then who's in the coffin? Then who's in the coffin?
Sorry, I'm not following the leap.
Yeah, sorry, I did another thing so we were talking earlier about how Snake isn't Snake, but our thought originally had been Snake is in the coffin.
Mm-hmm.
But if Snake's not in the coffin, because Snake wasn't Snake, then who's in the coffin?
I mean, does our thing require Snake to not be Snake?
Snake isn't Snake. We know Snake isn't Snake. The arm thing.
We know the body isn't Snake.
Oh, I see what you're saying. Okay.
So
Snake was Snake up until that point, and then
fucked off and hid in the coffin.
I guess, maybe? Let's find out. Clover is gone.
What?
Junpei and his 3 companions looked at one another. He turned back to Seven and Lotus.
What do you mean gone?
Santa, Ace, and Juna had their own questions to ask.
When?
Why?
You, numeral 2, went into door 1 with Clover, didn't ya? Seven and Lotus responded as best they could.
Yeah, we went through the door together.
But Clover barely spoke to us.
She just did her own thing the whole time.
There were 4 rooms on the other side of door 1.
She wouldn't let us into the 4th room.
She just said, I'll take care of this one.
And shut the door.
So which one was door 1? Was that over here? Was that the captain's quarters? Yeah, so the chart room. The captain's quarters. What do you mean there are four rooms?
Huh?
Oh, because there were 2 in here and then there were 2 in here. And she locked herself in the room with the body and the bracelet and the axe.
Maybe.
Well, no, because they're giving us enough information. We can figure this out. Wouldn't let us into the 4th room. The 4th room was the one right before they end, because each of the other rooms had 2. The first puzzle had 2 rooms to it.
Okay.
Or did it?
Yeah, I don't remember enough to
All right.
clarify.
She must have blocked it with something on the other side.
We waited for a while, but Clover didn't come out.
We called for her, but she didn't answer.
So I kicked down the door and we went into the room.
But
It was empty.
Clover wasn't there.
There was a door on the other wall.
And it was open.
It was empty. If that's the room I'm thinking of, then it being empty, they're not mentioning the dead body at all.
Yeah, that'd be weird. We figured she opened the door and left by herself.
We ran off after her, of course, but
Well, obviously we didn't find her. You figured out that much.
Clover's gone.
They haven't mentioned the body at all. Does the body die during the course of the game then?
Oh.
Why wouldn't they mention the... Either Clover somehow took the body with her, or the body isn't there. What the fuck? Junpei thought for a moment.
When did this happen? We got here just before you.
You certainly have excellent timing. So you haven't searched anywhere other than near the staircase?
No, we haven't.
Finally, Ace spoke. His voice had an edge of resolve and concern. Very well then, we best separate and look for Clover. We haven't much time left. Let's begin, all right?
Yeah.
There were quick nods all around, and the 6 remaining players spread out. Junpei and June ran to the large hospital room together. As quickly as they could, they searched around and under the beds and in the corners.
She's not here.
No, she isn't.
Yeah, all right. Just in case, we should go take a look in the shower room.
Shower room?
That's where her brother is. She might have gone to see him.
June bit her lip. She knew as Junpei did that there was only one thing to see in the shower room, and it wasn't pleasant.
Well, we might as well check, right? Let's go.
There was a screwdriver stuck between the door and the frame.
Good. We can still get in.
You should thank 7 later. Junpei and June slipped through the door, moved down the hallway, and stepped into the shower room.
No luck.
Yeah, I don't think she's here. June's voice was faint, and she placed her hands over her mouth. Her face looked a little green.
The smell is horrible.
The stench in the room was almost unbearable. It had grown far more unpleasant since their last visit. Junpei had eaten a lunch he would have had difficulty retaining it. He wanted to leave the room as soon as possible, but had to be sure, and the only way to be sure was to check the other side of the divider.
Let's check the back, just to be sure.
June offered no resistance and nodded weakly to Junpei as he headed around the divider. He stopped at the corner and turned his head.
She's not here.
As he'd expected, Clover was nowhere to be seen. Only thing on the other side of the divider was a dead body, lying in a reddish-brown puddle of dry and drying blood.
Snake. Just where did your sister go?
Junpei whispered to what once was Snake. He'd asked rhetorically, of course, as there was no way he'd get an answer. He gave a deep sigh.
It's such a horrible way to go. The skull's shattered, the left arm's hideously twisted. Huh. Wait.
The bright white of the ulna was clearly visible through the remains of skin and muscle. Bright white. Ulna.
Bones.
The pieces fell into place. Junpei remembered something Clover had told him in the laboratory.
My brother's left arm is, it's not like a normal person's arm. The accident hurt him really bad. Of course. Why didn't I realize it earlier?
Clover had told Junpei that Snake's left arm was prosthetic, but the left arm of the corpse behind the divider was quite clearly a real human arm, or at least it had been once. That meant the corpse. Junpei? June's unsure voice at Junpei's suddenly strange behavior drew his attention back to her.
Oh, sorry for making you wait. Let's go.
Interesting. So how does this change things? Junpei and June headed back toward the large hospital room. They stepped through the door and out of the shower room. Down the hallway they went, searching for Clover in every corner. They reached the stairs when 7 appeared, breathless and yelling.
Junpei, June, where were you guys?
He looked pale and his face was drawn. Something terrible had happened. Junpei's breath caught in his throat.
Did something happen?
7 drew a shaking hand across his face and gulped down a breath of fresh air.
Clover is dead. I found her in the first-class bathroom.
I don't remember this happening this way.
It didn't.
So this is different.
Sure is.
So, Clover telling us about that, learning about Ace being face blind, that all led to this change of events.
Mm-hmm.
Huh. All sound ceased for Junpei. The world was an empty, muffled expanse, and he began to hear his own breathing. Huh? June's mouth moved, but he heard nothing. She tried once more, and then her energy was gone, and she collapsed against the wall. He could have helped her, but he hadn't, and now she was dead. She stood there frozen in place.
Clover, why? Why did this happen?
He forced his body to move. Each step felt like another nail pounded into his heart. Finally, he was in front of her. He knelt and placed 3 fingers against Clover's neck. No pulse, no breath. But she was still warm, and her eyes were closed peacefully. Would have been easy to think she was asleep. Easy, that is, were it not for the slowly expanding puddle of blood beneath her. He traced its source to her back, a gash just beneath her the shoulder blade. Was the weapon a knife, perhaps? If it was a knife, the killer had taken it away when they left. When he closed his eyes, he saw Clover smile.
Clover?
Her innocent smile, her energy. He would never see her smile again. A gash and not a gigantic wound, so this isn't the axe.
No way.
Did we never figure out, like, we just always assume someone would have a knife somewhere. We've never figured out, like, what the knife weapon actually is or who has it. He could have done something. He could have helped her. His stomach twisted itself into a sickening knot.
Let's get out of here, June.
Junpei lifted a limp June from the floor and carried her from the bathroom.
Are you all right?
It was a foolish question, and he knew it.
Yeah, I think so.
Her voice was weak. The fever had gone down, but the emotional scars she had received were not likely to recede as quickly. Junpei laid his hand on her shoulder, and they walked back to the bedroom.
You should get some rest. Here, the bed. Can you sit?
Yeah.
All right, we're still in the branch point here. She nodded once and stared at the floor. There were 4 others in the room: Ace, Lotus, Santa, and Seven. They all stared at nothing, their faces drawn and tired. After a while, they drifted into the bathroom to see Clover's corpse themselves. Once everyone was back in the bedroom, Junpei walked slowly to the center of it and looked around at the slumped figures gathered there.
Who was the first to find the body? Me.
Seven spoke from behind Junpei. He turned around. Seven's hand was up.
Why'd you come to this room? To look for Clover. Why else? I found her body in the bathroom. Soon as I did, I ran outside. I got to the top of the stairs by the casino and yelled as loud as I could. Hey, guys, I found her, but it's bad. She's in the bathroom in the first-class cabin. Come quick. Or something like that. Then I went back to the bathroom. Ace, Santa, and Lotus showed up real soon after that. But I guess you two hadn't heard me or something, 'cause you didn't show. So I took off down the stairs to look for you. After that, I mean, you know the rest, right?
Junpei nodded and closed his eyes. There was one more thing he needed to ask.
Seven, there's one more thing I'm worried about. What? You stuck one of those plates in between the door and the frame, right? Why'd you do that? Come on, didn't I already tell you that? I did it so the door wouldn't lock, so we could come back to this room. Oh, you think I did it? Well, I don't know. That kind of depends on what you say, doesn't it? For crying out loud.
Seven sighed and shook his head.
Follow me.
There were 2 doors standing next to one another. He opened the one on the right.
Closet?
He wanted to get back to the safe.
Yeah.
Seven stepped inside. He stood in front of one of the shelves that had filled it and gestured toward a small box. The box was a small metal cube. He looked at Junpei.
This is the reason. This safe. We couldn't open it when we were getting through this room. I figured there might be something pretty important in it. I couldn't stop thinking about it. I figured eventually we might figure out what the numbers are for the safe. And if we did, I didn't want to screw around with door 5 again. So I put the plate in the exit door so we could get back in that way. You get it now? Yeah.
Junpei nodded and looked at the safe. He grabbed the handle and shook it.
Figured it wouldn't open?
It was locked, and it had been when Seven found it.
Huh?
And this is the route where we went through this side as well.
Mm-hmm.
There was one change, however.
This is...
Just underneath the safe was a pile of fine reddish-brown powder.
Rust.
Junpei stared at it, considering.
If there's rust here, that means... Has someone opened the safe?
Junpei left the closet. Seven followed him back to the bedroom.
Huh.
Nyeh. It was cold and quiet. No one spoke. They sat frozen in place by shock and grief and fatigue. The room felt tiny and oppressive, and the thick metallic smell of blood filled the room. Junpei turned and headed for the living room. Anything to get out of there. So someone had opened it. Interesting.
Maybe there's another clue. Anything that might lead us to discover who stabbed Clover.
As quickly as they could, they searched around and under the beds and in the corners. His eyes caught on the door. The door that led to the passageway of door number 5.
Behind this door. The 9th man's body is behind
Are
there.
we going to get confirmation on whether or not someone took his bracelet? Because we've been assuming that, or I've been assuming that for a long time now, but we haven't ever got confirmation that it was taken.
Maybe I should have another look at it, just in case.
Quietly, he pushed open the door.
Ugh.
The smell hit him like a blow to the face.
Oh,
Go, sorry.
the hell this smell is.
His lungs contracted, unwilling to inhale such fetid air. Acid boiled up from the base of his stomach, churning what little food there was into a violent froth.
Ugh. Ugh.
It was too much for him, and he vomited. A thin stream of yellow water and bile spattered onto the floor.
Ugh.
Good visual novel always includes a graphic vomit scene. This is a fact. He wiped his mouth weakly and stared at the dead body. Chunks of torn flesh lay in an arc around the body. What remained of his intestines had slid out onto the floor. The pool of blood that framed it was half dry, but so thick that it had taken on a texture not unlike that of an egg yolk prepared sunny side up. On the floor next to the broken mass of the man's head lay his glasses, cracks spidering across the lenses. The bloodstains near them had already died like scabs on the floor. Clover had come back. Clover has some inkling. At least from the other route, she has an inkling that the bracelets are obtainable and can be used after that. She came back to check on this. That's why she died here.
Wait,
That's when he noticed.
it's gone. His bracelet, it's gone.
I mean, that wasn't a hard guess, but a hard thing to guess, but you know, it feels good.
It was right next to the glasses.
But now it was gone. The number 9 bracelet was gone.
But why?
Had someone taken it? He was turning it over and over in his mind when he heard Seven's voice.
Oh, where'd Junpei go?
And drifted out to him from the living room. Junpei walked slowly out of the hallway.
Oh, there you are. Were you looking for something in the hallway?
Seven looked up as Junpei entered the room.
Yeah? Did you find something?
He thought for a moment before he responded.
Nope, nothing.
Because he doesn't know who to trust yet. Technically, it wasn't a lie. He hadn't found anything. In a way, in fact, that was the problem. Something he'd expected to find hadn't been there, the 9th man's bracelet.
What's up? Oh, well, I wanted you to take a look at something. What is it?
Maybe the safe is where the power things to the doors were kept? I don't know. Seven led Junpei back to the bathroom.
Clover?
As Clover's corpse came into view, he felt his heart flip and then fall to the bottom of his stomach. Something between a sigh and a groan escaped his lips.
What was it you wanted to show me?
His voice was hollow and empty.
I searched Clover's body again. A real shame. She was stabbed once in the back, probably by a knife or something. And I found this.
As he spoke, he moved around Clover's head, then knelt down and flipped open her right hand.
What?
She actually had a note? She was holding a piece of paper.
I haven't actually looked at it yet. Didn't want to disturb the crime scene, you know? Basic stuff. Well, I did borrow one thing.
He wasn't sure what that meant, but it likely didn't matter. The paper was more important. He did borrow one thing.
She had the bracelet. Potentially.
Yep. Paper was more important.
I'm opening it.
The 0 bracelet. He picked it up and carefully opened it. There were 2 sentences written on it. She was... I thought she was bullshitting about this. Okay.
Truth had gone, and truth had gone. Ah, now truth is asleep in the darkness of the sinister hand.
What? Truth had gone, and truth had gone. Ah, now truth is asleep in the darkness of the sinister hand.
What is this? Some kind of secret code?
Seven peered over Junpei's shoulder at the note. Junpei stepped away from Clover's body and into the living room. He began to pace, attempting to decode the note.
A code.
Interesting that this is still on the novel split here. We haven't even gotten to the ending stuff yet. Interesting. Okay. The first clue was likely the phrase sinister hand. Sinister hand means...
The left hand.
What?
The left hand.
Why the left hand?
That's what the sinister hand is. Dexter Sinister.
What are you talking about?
Oh. Is this not common knowledge?
No, I have no idea what the fuck you're saying.
Sinister just means left. That's all that means.
Oh! I was gonna guess left because I kept thinking about left hand of dark. Is that what left hand of darkness means?
Maybe.
Sinister and Dex, and the other one was Dexter.
Yeah.
Dexter.
Yep. Dexter is right. It's from Latin. My fucking classics
Fucking
waste
hell.
of time education was useful.
All right, left hand.
Sinister was a term used in heraldry that meant to the left of the bearer of a coat of arms. The left hand. The left hand. What does the left hand mean?
Junpei looked at his own left arm, at the bracelet on his wrist.
Does the darkness of the sinister hand have something to do with the bracelet?
He examined the bracelet closely.
There's two things sticking out on either side of the face, the left and right sides of the face, left and right, right and left. Truth is gone.
Truth had gone. Truth is asleep in the darkness of the sinister hand.
Truth gone.
Truth gone. Maybe those two words.
Oh, that's interesting. That's interesting.
Smash that like, comment and subscribe.
Hey guys, do you want to talk about ice?
Sure. Sure.
Okay.
Jen started a call that lasted 9 hours.